So, let me see if this is actually working correctly. And that was my phone. Sorry about that. Let's see here. We're doing this. I'll go ahead and please stop. I did not realize I was in a multiplayer game.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of sauce.
How the heck will that not go away?
Their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead, I became part of their story.
Alright.
So, still a bit groggy, are we? Don't worry, the sedative
Finally
will
got that
wear off soon
notification
enough.
away. And I realized that my mic is not working. Alright, so real quickly before I continue, this is a rehash for me. I played it when it originally came out on PC. I have finished the game, so hopefully with you guys watching me play this, if you haven't played it yet, you don't prefer spoilers, probably shouldn't continue watching. I have already decided that I'm going to make a battle mage. I'm going to do something a little different. Most of the time, when people do battle mages, they tend to go pyro. I'm actually going hydro, so this should be interesting.
Easy now. No need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
Also, I should mention that I'm not used to the controls for console, because when I played it on PC, I played it with mouse and keyboard. So I might stumble around like an idiot for a little bit. I came home, installed the game, and this is the first little instance of me playing it. Oh, also, I'm an elf too, so dialogue and stuff will be a little different.
Not a very chatty fellow, are you?
Inbreeding skull. What's this?
rubbish.
Alright, let's see here. That. Just to turn off a candle that apparently is on the second floor. And yeah, I do have tutorials on, because like I said, I haven't played this on console. I've only played it on PC. I did not use the controller when I played it.
An animal sty, freight, or food?
I did not mean... Okay, well, I'm taking a bucket.
Did you expect a needle? Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully. Her rectangular eyes like
And I do not have pet so... The sheep. I don't think there's much in here. This is a tutorial area. Oh, okay, so it plays like the first one then. Give me just a second, I'm just trying to get my bearings on the controls here. Alright. I think I need this box. With this bucket with water. So, if you haven't ever played Divinity 1, or Divinity Original Sin, Enhanced Edition, or if you've not played just Divinity Original Sin, the game is kind of like... to me, it's a mixture of different things. It's like XCOM, with swords, and it's also kind of like Diablo in a way. The combat is turn-based, which you'll see here in a little bit. So, take a look around here. I don't think there's really much anything else in here. These doors are locked. So when the first time I played this wasn't part of the game. There was no tutorial area. It was a it just kind of it launched you straight into the area that I'm assuming it's going to put me in when I climb that ladder, which is why it's I just want to take a look around. Curious on whether or not they actually give you, yeah, they give you some useful stuff in here. We'll take the apple pie, the apple, the ham. Let's just go ahead and see what this letter says. It's come to my attention again that several of you are bypassing the cargo hold security measures by sliding boxes onto the pressure plates. This will not do. The purpose of these measures is to require the presence of of at least 3 magisters at a change of shift. Any deviation will result in at least 1 magister getting thrown overboard. Make sure it isn't you. So I guess it's a hint for a puzzle of some sort that's coming up. Pressure plates in this tutorial area. I did not want to sit down on the stool. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It's a tutorial for the pressure plate. Here, we'll take a pocket out. Crap. I'm not gonna lie, this is a little strange because without a mouse and keyboard. Stepped on oil. That is unfortunate.
The Magister Guard snorts and sniffles as he sleeps. You're almost impressed that one man can make such a phlegmy racket.
Bop the guard's nose. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bop him on the nose.
Is my shift over? Are you here to relieve me? Oh, wait, you're no Magister. You're a sorcerer. What are you doing here, filthy elf? Choose your words carefully. My fists ache to meet a new face.
Oh, let's see here. Tell the truth. Wits and persuasion. So, apparently in the patch notes, they made some adjustments to the way that persuasion works in this game. Because in the second one, in this one there was instances where the persuasion checks were really, really difficult. So, I guess we'll find out more about that as we go. Hilligard, you're itching for a fight. Here's your mark. Laugh until him, one of the guards on the upper deck fell overboard. You know what? I'm gonna fight
A
him.
collared sauce freak thinks he can clobber a red? I should have known there'd be trouble.
And this also gives you guys a little insight into the combat, so... Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's see here. Let's see here. Rain costs 1 and Hellstrike costs. I took Elementalist, so what that does is that reduces my castable ability. Like, if I'm standing in water, my water spells will be cheaper, essentially. So, like Hellstrike, it normally costs 3, but because I'm standing in water, it costs 2. So, see if we can do this and not hit myself. Okay, well, I can't really do anything else. I can heal, but healing doesn't do me much good. I probably should equip that pocket knife. Can I equip stuff in combat? I think you can, it just costs AP. Right? There we go. All he's doing is kicking me. Okay, so Hail Strike's still on cooldown. So, like, I have Rain, Hail Strike, and Restoration, so it's not like I
So
have
much
a lot
for
of
a peaceful stroll.
options. Laboratory key. Oh, there's the electric discharge scroll.
Hey! Hey! Get me out of this cage and I'll make it worth your while. You in?
Okay, well, I'm gonna be a
Your
little
guess is
suspicious
as
of this
good as
guy.
mine. Someone screamed loud as a banshee. After that, pure pandemonium. They never even told me what I was accused of. Just dragged me down here.
Demand to know exactly what exactly is in it for you. I'm not that greedy, so we'll
A
just,
gentleman
just go with
among
it.
jesters, you are. Give that lever a pull, and I guarantee we'll both get something out of the deal.
Alright, so just go ahead and pull the leather.
The prisoner's buoyant voice darkens as his eyes rest on yours.
Ah, freedom. Tastes better than wine. I'm nothing if not a man of my word. And I did give my word I'd set you free, lad. Say your prayers while you've breath to speak them.
That's I figured that that's what would happen. Alright, so slowly getting the hang of these controls. Oh yeah, I forgot. When you have a one-handed weapon equipped, you get that sucker punch ability. Now on PC it was like one of those things where if you were a dual wielder and you ran out of control abilities, you would unequip one of your weapons and then sucker punch them. So it was kind of stupidly overpowered. Doesn't look like they changed it too much. Seems like it used to stun for 2, now it stuns for 1, but I could be wrong there. So. This guy's frozen. I couldn't have fought him in any worse position. Can't really see him. Yeah, so well, let's just sucker punch him. Oh, stupid camera. Well, I might be able to sucker punch him. Did I even hit him? Yeah, I did, okay. So every race comes with these racial abilities. It's like for the elf, the flesh sacrifice, you get 1 point immediately and a 10 damage boost for 2 turns at the cost of -1 Constitution. This is combined with Adrenaline Rush, which is another ability out of the Scoundrel tree. It's really, really, really good. Which, honestly, the only reason to do that at that time was just for the extra damage. So, yeah, yep. Man, this camera, it's gonna get hard to get used to. It makes me miss my computer. Don't want to use the candle lighter. I mean, unless there's an option I'm missing somewhere where you can Or maybe you can select enemies with R1 and L1. I don't know. Oh, well, it's hanging right there beside his name. Oh my goodness. Alright. It tells you can get in. You can inspect enemies. No, yeah, he's dead this time. And
What
I'm on
would he
fire.
have to gain by killing me? Strange forces are at work.
I'm gonna die. Need some apple pie. I just ate every bit of food that was in my bag. Oh, I could have used the mattress. I'm a little upset I used that potion now. No, 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 no. And he had nothing on him. Let's see, I think this is lock. Oh no, I got the key for it. And there's lockpicks right beside it. I know that most of the time it's like gameplay considerations, but it's so funny when you run into issues, things like that, where like the key will be right beside the door. Nothing in the medical cabinet. Oh, well, that's not what I meant to do.
Empty.
With so many checkable objects, it's interesting that a lot of the times there's nothing in a lot of the stuff. Oh, there's that potion back. If I'm not mistaken, I think that you can wash this poison away. Rain, I think rain covers it. Yep, there it goes. So that's interesting. So like that pocket knife I have, let me just show you. Go ahead and just take that ooze barrel.
Not the most elegant solution, was it?
Alright, so like I've got that ooze barrel in my inventory. I may have to unequip it, but I'm not sure. But like I picked up those empty bottles. I want to split it. So I picked up these empty potion bottles. So let's just use half of them. And if I hold X, it should create poison. There we go. Oh, well, it didn't multi. Alright, so let me bring up my character sheet here. What I'm actually trying to show you is how you can poison weapons, but I'm not really doing a very good job at that right now. So can you combine it with the actual potion itself? I don't remember. I think you have to combine. No, yeah, there you go. So now my pocket knife is poisoned, so it'll poison enemies now.
And I'm back where I started.
Alright, so now
Nowhere
we're
to
at a
go
little
but
tutorial
up.
area. Sorry about that if that was a little boring. But that's the first time I've ever been through it, so up the ladder we go. Just go ahead and take that. Medicine cabinet. There's nothing. Books, nothing. Nothing in there. Huh. So yeah, it looks like they've changed quite a bit here.
No known
Yeah, I don't want to pick up
associates.
that laboratory stuff.
In fact, he seemed quite averse to spending time
I think those gold cups are actually worth a little bit, but I could be wrong. Let's go ahead and check these books.
Empty.
Oh, it's empty. No, I think I've pretty much searched everything there.
Why, you're looking a bit more chipper. Yes. Looks like that collar fits you snugly enough.
So there
Nice
used to be this
work,
thing.
if I do
I
say
don't.
so
I'm not.
myself.
I want to try it, but it may be patched. But used to, you could instigate a fight down here, and you could get off the boat being a little bit higher level than what you normally would. You'll see. Well, I may not actually.
It
Yeah,
seems
so
as
let's
though
see.
there's a pattern.
There you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash.
Alright, so something else that's really cool about this game is you can trade with literally everybody. Well, essentially everybody. And that's not going to say that they're all going to have useful stuff. I mean, like the potion bottle is pretty much the most useful thing she has.
In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters.
As the dialogue just said there, it tags your... Okay, so this isn't an origin character. So the game, there's 4 origin characters, and then you can also create a character. You could create a character as well. So when you create a character, you get to choose your tags. So I chose Scholar Mystic for my elf here. So that's why those 2 Scholar Mystic options are there. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Scholar option here. Muse that the room's shape. That by the room's shape, you can tell you're on a Lucian class frigate. But why?
Why? Because we're at sea, of course, and have been for several days.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits, and if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Sauce. For good.
It doesn't sound pleasant. I like how you can mention the misdeeds that we pulled downstairs.
No lesions, no
I'm just gonna go ahead with the option.
Why, for my peace
one.
of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those Sauce spells of yours? See what happens.
And the top one, you recall great powers building inside you, the ones you commanded before your capture, unleash them.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
My, look at the concentration on your face. All will, but no result. There you have it. See? The collar's function. It neuters you of sorts. Makes you unable to cast Source. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's.
And I still have those two options there. uh... Sure.
Is he? Oh well. Some problems simply sort themselves, don't they?
She frowns and peers at you closely, resting the back of one hand on your forehead and taking your pulse with the other.
Delusions such as these are rare, but not unheard of. I recommend a cup of mulled wine and another night's sleep. Just take it easy.
I like how she takes you murdering the Magister downstairs as a delusion. Alright. So let's...
Good gods! There's been
take a
a
look around
murder
the ship
here.
There's actually quite a bit to do. You can rush through this part if you really, really want to, but I don't want to do that. I want to kind of take a little look around. There's a poetry book. A woman from Driftwood with nary a care offered me kisses that answered my prayer. I accepted her gift, and then to my dismay, a spider she was, and out her buffet. Yeah, buffet. Once feasting was over, she licked her red lips, arose from the floor, still coming to grips. She thanked me for coming and bade her farewell. My prayer indeed answered, though still I did swell. At first I thought that was a reference to someone else that we'll see later on in the playthrough. It might be, and I don't remember entirely. Something to note is a lot of these, like the broken bottles and other random stuff around here that seems absolutely useless. You can actually use that in crafting for the most part. Like you can use the broken bottle here. I'm pretty sure you can use those in frag grenades for the shrapnel.
A young Magister stands pale and silent. Her knuckles whiten around her weapon as you pass. The pale
She
young
literally
woman
has nothing to
doesn't
say. Let's see what
acknowledge
she
you.
has.
She nods to the right without moving her gaze from the ground.
Nothing useful. Let's talk to this.
Behind the Magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
Alright, let's see. Let's just appear into the room now.
There's been a murder. A sorcerer was killed by one of your own. Lucky you were busy getting your collar fitted at the time, or you'd be a suspect like the rest of them.
No marks, no indications.
Alright.
Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does.
Now, in the original game, the game acted, well, in the PC release, originally, the game acted like you could lend a hand with the investigation to actually help out. I wonder if that's been fixed. There's actually some sort of conclusion to it at this point. But I think the idea behind it is we'll gather evidence here very soon on who done it. So I think the idea behind it was for the investigation not to be completed and you not be rewarded. But I guess we'll see. We'll see if they fixed it.
Aren't you enterprising? I'll let Waters tell you no herself. Go ahead. She with the body.
Knowledge this tome is. Dallas is such a dear lending it to me.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this.
So essentially, you're imprisoned because you're what's called a sorcerer, which is a it's a type of magic in the world of Divinity. So, the idea behind it is that the sorcerers are the reason that the world is as messed up as it is in the game. And as we go forward, you'll see more of that, with like the Void Walkers and stuff like that. They blame sorcerers as the root of all evil, so to say. I like that answer. Ask why she's letting you so close to the crime machines. For all she knows, you could be the killer. Or you can just call it as it is. They're just capturing people who are accused of being sorcerers and imprisoning them. And we'll see a little later what they're actually doing with them. But it's a little messed up, to be honest.
Finn didn't see it like that. He was desperate for us to help him. Two things scared the living daylights out of him. His own shadow and his own source. We'll find out who did this. Speaking of...
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course.
Shrug and say maybe you can. You're a sorcerer after all. Or you can just call it as you see it and ask her if she's investigating her fellow magisters. You'll find that the magisters are really, really cruel to sorcerers. And again, the evidence for that will come up as we go.
Finn was killed by Source. If a magister could do that, there wouldn't be a magister. It looks more like a passenger managed to slip their collar. And the rest, well, you see the evidence in front of you. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that?
So, tell her your price is considerably higher than that. Let's go with the greedy answer. Let's be greedy here.
Not in here, it isn't.
Of course.
You let me know if you hear anything.
Alright, so
Whoever
before we leave
did
her,
this
let's take a look
is
at what she
dangerous.
has. A whole lot of nothing. Well, wait. I think she had a fuse. Yeah, she has a fuse. What's really interesting is, like, you can take, like, these cup of teas, cup of wine. When you drink those, it actually just becomes empty cups, so you can reuse them. Pretty good. And, yeah, I understand the attitude thing. Let me see something. Okay, so that's tactical camera. Okay, so down is sneak. So there's two different ways you can play this. You can play it by using the joystick and moving it around. Press. Oh, that's not what I meant to do.
What a well of knowledge this tome is.
How did I disengage
Dallas
the camera
is such
this
a
time?
dear lending it to me.
Oh, okay. You press down on the left stick and you can actually do like a point and click. Thought. No, I guess not. Okay.
No known
The
associates.
original one you could do.
In fact, he seemed quite
firstly, you could do
averse to
something
spending
similar
time
to
with
that.
the
You
others.
could switch the control scheme to kind of like a point and click. So once she looks away, we're actually going to loot Finn's body. So since we're an elf, we're able to
It seems as though there's
eat
a
flesh and gain people's memories. So, and because of that, elves are discriminated against as cannibals. And I think there's a couple of dialogue lines in the game that point that out. So we're gonna eat this chunk of Finn's flesh here and see what his memories are.
As the dead man's flesh slides down your throat, you feel his consciousness enter yours. His memories are yours to experience. You are Finn. Your heart is heavy. You know too much. It's all too much. You met him. A bright light blinds you, then fades. You feel a tremendous power in your hands, but they are shaking so hard you can barely use them. Suddenly you're on this very ship, crouched in a corner, hugging your knees. A figure approaches, an older woman. Her eyes are kind. She comes closer. She says she wants to talk. She reaches a hand toward you. You grasp it. The memories end. You are no longer Finn. You return to yourself with a jolt.
So that gives us a little hint as to who killed Finn. Let's see here. So we got adrenaline from that. And that's what's really cool about elves, is like there's some skills that you can learn specifically by without having to buy the skill books. And you'll see a little later the skill books are pretty expensive. Unless you invest heavily into thieving, then it becomes ridiculously easy to have a lot of money and a lot of skill books. But adrenaline, this is the skill I was talking about earlier, where if it's combined with that flesh sacrifice of the elves, it's incredibly powerful. The only downside to adrenaline is you lose 2 action points. And that's a common theme in the game, is a lot of boosting abilities have some sort of downside. But adrenaline, in combination with flesh sacrifice and other skills that you can get later on in the game, super powerful. So it's something to bear in mind no matter what type of character you create. Adrenaline by itself without flesh sacrifice is very powerful. So just some food for thought there. Well, we don't want to go back down. So let's continue our investigation of Finn's death. And real quick, while I'm thinking about it, let me go ahead and get these quest logs cleared out. In the Chronicles. Yeah, I'm OCD like that. It bothers me when I have notifications that... yeah, I can't handle the notifications. So, we got a recipe for the minor poison potion due to us making it earlier. And as you can see, it starts you out with some little some basic crafting recipes. The crafting in this game, when it was released, it didn't seem as complex as the original Sin 1, in which some people complained about, but it's pretty good. So here's a bedroll. What's interesting in these is they allow you to rest and heal your entire party, so you don't have to use your health potions, which to some extent sometimes they're very hard to come by, and other times you'll find yourself in abundance of them. Oh, we got our first piece of armor there. Our little beginning armor. So we'll go ahead and equip our boots. What we got? What's interesting is clothing, it changes based on what your race is. And that'll be something we'll be able to see a little bit more of later. So here we get to, in the hold here, we get to meet all of our companions. So we'll go ahead and talk to this one here. This is another elf. Her name is Sibel. So we'll go ahead and talk to her first.
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like.
So we ask her what she's doing, or ask to join her.
She shakes her head.
Game for one, I'm afraid. Rolling dice. Deciding fates.
Just read the future and cow entrails as well.
Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
We'll take the cow entrails as well.
She eyes you suspiciously.
Not the future, no, but I can read the past in flesh. Just like you. And I'm quite good at it, too. I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
Sure,
She
why
gives
not?
your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a cat grooming.
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers. As everyone lay sleeping, you lay awake thinking of someone back home. A very special someone. You were reminiscing about the things you used to do together.
I like how one of the options is you instantly get angry. You tell her she doesn't know what in Seven Hills she's talking about. We'll go with the embarrassed.
She pats you on the shoulder consolingly.
There, don't you worry, darling. Your secret's safe with me. I don't lick and tell.
So that's Seville.
The woman keeps rolling her dice.
One of us would kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
And right over here,
Just skip to the part where I
Iffin.
reassure you and you
This
shut up.
is probably one of my favorite characters. I don't think I want to use him in this playthrough though.
Insufferable.
There's
Surely.
another character that I'm thinking about using instead of him, considering you only get 4 party members. And I want to use them just to have a little bit of diversity,
Enough for me to listen.
but okay. So we'll go
A
and talk to
scruffy
him.
man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing you, he straightens and beckons for you to come closer.
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this tramp Iffan.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Iffan beckons again.
Sure.
He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Iffan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Iffan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Iffan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword and now he's Johnny Big Pants.
Johnny Big Pants. Sure, we'll ask about the
No.
murder.
The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough.
Let's ask about how he found himself
Long
at the
story.
mercy of subordinates.
Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties. The Joy?
About Joy?
I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since Bishop Alexander runs the show. Wonder if we'll get to meet the Ringmaster himself.
Let's see here. No interest in Alexander, you only care about surviving Fort Joy.
Easy now. I might think the same. But Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
What are you conspiring about over there? You, elf. What's your name?
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name.
Tell him your name's Gil.
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook. He scowls at you as he stows the notebook back in his voluminous robes.
Away with you. At once.
Iffan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he leans back against the wall.
In case you're curious about the difficulty I'm playing on as well, it's classic. Just wanted to play through the game and enjoy it. Not saying that the harder difficulties aren't enjoyable.
How dare you classify this
Which
slop
is a
as
little bit more stress than
I've
is
seen more
necessary
appetizing
for the
things
first
coming
game.
out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable.
Ah, crap.
I've never dined on anything less than a dozen course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
Well,
Take that.
there has been a murder, Your Majesty.
That.
Maybe that has
Mashed
the Majesty's
potatoes.
more concern than your
Read
appetite.
the poster.
Don't you
Those are
get
some new
saucy
recipes.
with me
Check
when you
this
clearly
barrel.
don't know the first thing about sauce.
The sack. Take some gold. The shelf. Alright, so that does that. Oh well. Just a couple more things to get in here. Another pocket knife so we can dual wield now. If we so please. The idea for us is actually to get a water staff because we're going to be using that in melee. Let's go ahead and just read this journal. This tome contains no text, instead sketches of dragons fill every page. The artist is hardly talented but clearly enthusiastic. So, does that. I mean, these are worth very low amounts of gold. Which I guess.
I've seen more appetizing things coming
Talk
out
to
of plague
Magister Victor.
I'm busy watching for clues, sorcerer. Go take your sub-story somewhere else.
Yeah, well,
Majesty, turnips and water
and he has a shirt.
are
You
all
want it.
I was given.
So,
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a
chip
dozen
plates are
course
actually worth
dinner,
gold.
and I don't
expect them
intend to
be.
do away with the custom.
Get rid of that.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe
sure the 18
that
is
has the
still
Majesty's
on,
more
yeah.
concern than your appetite.
Let's get rid of both of
Don't
those.
you get saucy with me when you
Yeah, that
clearly
number
don't know the
one.
first thing about
Here
sauce.
and sell this food. Oh, that's worth it. Yeah, sure.
How dare you classify this slop as food?
So I need
I've
two
seen
gold.
more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
They don't care about us.
There's nothing else I can make,
I
Your
really kind of
Majesty.
want to keep the
Turnips
I'll
and
give you
water
that
are
knuckle
all
if
I
you
was
keep carrying on.
that pocket off.
One of us wouldn't kill our own.
I've never dined on
picking us
anything
off
less
one
than
by
a dozen course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with
Just
it.
skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up.
There has been a murder, Your
You think
Majesty.
me mad?
Maybe that has the Majesty's more concern than your appetite.
Insufferable. Surely.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing
All that
about
NPC
sauce.
chatter in the
I'll
background.
tell you if you can keep
Apologize
it
for
quiet
that.
long enough for me to listen.
See, that's one of the things I dislike about the game in a way is when you're in these menus with vendors, the NPCs they just keep going and going and going. And a lot of the times it's just a repeat of the same thing over and over and over again. So we'll go ahead.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
Donate? What are you talking about? Alright, so let's go ahead and just give him that pocket
They don't
knife
care about us.
and a
We're
piece of
like cattle
garlic.
to them.
For
I'll give you that
the,
knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Just skip to the part where I
actually completely
reassure you
trade.
and you shut
Did I
up.
screw that up?
You think me mad?
Mad?
Okay. Yeah, I
Insufferable.
completed it. So this is a
What are you trying to hear
decent
anyway?
example. There you see
I'll
the
tell you if you can keep
elf
it quiet long
clothing
enough for me to listen.
and armor takes on a more leafy look. Let's go around here
That's enough.
and if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Alright, so this is pretty funny to me. That this is an actual piece of equipment. Is that bucket. So now I have a bucket on my head. Let's go here and loot this. Has nothing. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk to
Ah, there you are. Husband. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not-at-all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this Losa woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly allergical.
No, we're just gonna play along with her.
How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we?
Ask if she couldn't find a more age-appropriate companions. True enough.
You presume right.
Anything
Nope,
about murder?
trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better.
Ask her to
Thanks,
come around with
but I
us.
already belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after lunch. You're too soft for it. You take care, though.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Good luck, Chief. Take it easy, Chief. You don't...
It's a little bit of foreshadowing into Losa's character. She's very interesting. Very interesting, actually. She's probably one of my favorites.
You look a little bit elfish. Maybe your daddy was an elf. My daddy's name is Frida. He's waiting for me at home. I'll go home soon.
Let's check it. I'm trying to see if my voice volume is coming through loud. Or at least hearable. Okay, this girl doesn't have anything.
Do you know Losa?
Sandy.
She's a really good singer. I'm better though. Listen. La 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 la. What's your job?
I forgot to go
You
to
look
the
like a
trade meeting.
magic maker.
Oh, she has
Like
pants.
me.
We want
but
those
maybe
pants.
not so strong.
It was one of them. I know it.
I think it's the pair that I just was trying to buy off of her.
They don't care about us.
Let's get rid
We're
of
like
that.
cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
I forget it. We'll just pay 5 for it.
Mad? Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Oh, there it is. It's like, where's the pants option? It's a weird spot for it. I would have expected it like over here and then the belt over here. Cause here's your ring accessories. So I figured the belt would have been over there as well, but I guess not. Which I think it was the same setup on the PC.
My mum doesn't like elves.
It's
I have
been
secrets.
since
When I grow up, I'm gonna be an elf. She'll get used to it.
late last year since I played this, so it's been quite a while.
I know it.
Would you put a knuckle
There's some
in it? I'm
interesting
trying
things
to
you can do with soap.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle. Carrying on.
Let me see, do I actually...
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part
Alright,
where
so,
I
like, if I
reassure
take
you
this...
and you shut up?
and combine it with the soap we just picked up.
Insufferable.
Hold it. Bam, lockpicks.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
Interesting way to make lockpicks. It's more of a copy of a key with soap, I would assume, a mold. But it works. Alright, so let's go down in here. No, sorry about that.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Mezd. Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
Well, you've got this wolf on a leash now.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with it.
Let's go ahead and pick up these kitchen pots. Not the candle.
It was one of them. I know it.
Like I said, we can sell those.
You put a knuckle
And every little bit of gold helps.
I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper. Finer fare than boiled roots and rotten tubers, too. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind this very wall. The indignant. Who we are, what
I
we've
keep
done.
forgetting to check and
they
see
mean less than nothing as
what they
long
have
as
to
these
sell.
collars choke us.
Which she had nothing.
Insufferable. Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
Let's talk to the Red Prince.
What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
The nerve, slap his hand away. Let's just humor him for now.
There's some discoloration, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook?
Barely tell a turkey from a turnip. You tell a wizard in the kitchen. Let's go with the turkey from a turnip.
No. And don't even mention the demon's testes that are turnips. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor?
Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
Well, you've got this wolf on a leash.
Stick a thumb in the holes of your garb and say these provide cool in summer.
Yes, I can tell from your vagabond chic, a bag is as good as a shirt kind of style. I shouldn't be getting my hopes up. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after.
Can't recall the last time you bathed. What month is it?
Just as I thought. That explains what's besieging my nostrils. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you have the taste buds of a dung beetle, the fashion sense of a monkey in a clown suit, and your personal hygiene reminds one of a carcass rotting in the sun. That won't do at all, see? I'm sad to say I must deny you the opportunity to be my slave. Ever so sorry.
Tell him you have half a mind to punch him in the face.
You should probably come to terms with the fact that you've half a mind, full stop. You'll never attain the rank of slave with manners such as that. Still, hone your skills, and one day you may just qualify for a position in a lesser household than mine. You keep dreaming, you hear?
As if I would be super disappointed to not be a slave.
One of them. I know it.
He destroyed my dreams.
Put a knuckle in it. I'm trying to concentrate.
Always wanted to be a lizard man slave.
Don't care about us.
Apparently that's not possible for me now.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Let's go ahead and just pick this
We
stuff up.
just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up.
You think me mad?
I'm gonna go ahead and take this
Mad?
beer.
No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you
Right,
trying
let's
to
talk
do? Did you
to
see
Jill
the
here.
body? They ought to let you taste a bit. Maybe you'd
Has
find out who done
nothing.
it.
He kind of gives you a hint there to try to eat Finn's flesh.
The
Who wants to
Divine
know?
Order wants to know. Well, you aren't here on my list. Scram, eh? We're trying to catch a killer here.
We'll hand you right over the side of this ship with it.
I don't know. Not worried about that.
It was one of them. I know
Alright,
it.
so we got 2 more companions to
put
talk
a
to.
knuckle in it? I'm trying
This one
to
right here is the dwarf
concentrate.
named Beast.
They don't care
A
about us.
broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions.
There's a killer about, after all.
He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that?
He turns his head toward you, looking you up and down, and smiles before turning his attention to the ship once more.
You look like a boy to me. Listen if you're interested, or get gone if you aren't.
Let's see.
Your kind always hungry.
Let's ask him what we're meant to
The
be hearing.
ship, of course.
And let's just
A wave
listen
of
to
sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
And?
him.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
Ship's moaning like a sick man.
Sick as a leper's cat. From the state of it, I'd say she's being cared for by a bunch of beardless babes who never loved anyone but their own mums. But there's more. Listen close.
Let's just oblige him.
There now, just like that.
Squeak!
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
There. You heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, boy. Good news. It's the wheel.
Yeah.
The wheel. Don't you see, you beautiful idiot? Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Pardon my beard. That means if we've been travelling for, yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy.
Let's see. He shouldn't talk about such a magnificent beard.
Ah, so you've eyes as well as ears, eh? You'll go far, mate, even here.
That's comment about him being a practiced sailor.
Captain, actually. And that figure tells me we're getting close to the Joy. Close to what lies beyond it, too.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hand
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily.
That'll be all. Thank you kindly, boy.
He continues
Fucking
stroking
eyebrow
his
asking about
beard,
escaping.
a beatific smile on his lips, and doesn't acknowledge you anymore.
Fine.
How dare you classify this
Able to
slop
keep
as
talking to
food?
you anyways.
I've seen more
Alright,
appetizing
so-
things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else I can make, Your
Alright,
Majesty.
and last but not
Turnips and
least,
water
here is
are
Thane.
all I was
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eyes scanning your body, absorbing. He reaches out and examines your face, tugging at your ears and prodding your nose.
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
Reach over and ruffle his hair. Let's just ask him about his book.
It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of this tale and the end, but I am rather missing the middle. Tell me, what do you know of your our world's history?
No, I have a couple different options here. Elf, Mystic, and Scholar. Let's go Scholar.
Oh, please. I have no interest in that. Your books are too full of it already. No, I want to know about the Celestial. I want to know about your gods. This text tells me that they created all creatures, but nothing of what came before. Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind?
Let's see. I have often pondered the nature of gods, but don't have any sure answers.
Of course you don't have any useful information. Why did I expect anything else? Now please, run along. I have a world to decipher.
I insist. Why is he so curious about gods?
No amount of pestering will get the elf to take his eyes off his book or respond to your questions.
Do you mind? I'm really...
Yeah, just done talking to you two. Let's talk
It's
to
a
Magister
register,
Cade
sir.
here.
Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the last passenger.
Not really much I can use here.
You faring okay so far?
Ask if he'd be fine, collared like a dog and stuck in the ship's hold with a corpse and a murderer on the loose.
He tugs the collar of his uniform and chuckles.
Sorry you're upset, sir, but we all wear what we wear for a reason. You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast.
Alright, so after going through this, I decided that I am going to attempt to do what I mentioned earlier about trying to get off the ship at a higher level than what it was. First off, let me clean this action bar up just a little bit. It's a little too cluttered for my liking. Let's go ahead and remove dome of protection. And remove these and reset them. Oh. Did not mean to pull my weapon out. I can figure out what the heck I'm doing here. Alright, so let's go ahead and put, so I want to put the backpack on my action bar, and the reasoning for this is because you can open the backpack, like you can put items in it and then use it from the action bar. It just saves you a couple menu screens of going through. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my inventory here and
No known associates. In fact, he seemed quite averse to spending time with the others.
hold it in my hand and then put it in the backpack. Backpacks are super useful for sorting stuff. I'm going to do the same thing with this.
What a well of knowledge this tome is. Dallas is such a dear lending it to me.
Sort this by time. So now, like if I want to use the sleeping bag or a potion, I can just go into the hotbar and click on the backpack, and then there it is. So that's very, very helpful. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up this barrel. And this barrel. Stand right here. Actually, I just realized that I have spells, and I could probably have done this a much easier way. But it is what it is. Just go ahead and drop both of these. Yeah, let's just do this the hotbar way. Let's just use L here. And that should... Okay, that should have aggroed him. But I guess not. I think you have to hit them twice. Oh, they may have patched it. They may have patched it. Or it may just not be a thing on the console version. Either one. Patched it or not part of the console version. Alright, let's try this again. They should turn hostile. Oh, there it is. Okay. So it took more than a couple of hits. Oh, I forgot to put flesh sacrifice on there. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Tried to do it the wrong way. Let me get flesh sacrifice on here. So much flesh sacrifice. And
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Right up here. And he got me with the attack of opportunity. I'm just gonna wait on that guy with the dog to get a little further away. Because once he gets dragged into combat, this becomes a little bit more difficult than what I would like it to be. Wow. That's one hell of a move.
Really don't know the first thing about swords.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard.
And he is stopped in the exact spot that I did not want him to be stopped in. This is not going to go well. Come up here. With any luck, the dog and the magistrate. So that's gonna be very lucky if they ignore me. They generally, for the most part, except for the first guy that you aggro, they generally focus on health. They're not gonna ignore me. But anyways, they generally focus the NPC companions more so than they do you. With any luck, Fane sometimes has a tendency. So, like, the idea is, it's not gonna let me. There we go. So the idea is to come up here, and there's some guys in this room right here, and if you get right here and cast a spell, there's a woman in here that will kill literally everyone on the ship. They're not going to go this easy on me. This has turned it into a trap store. This attack of opportunity is going to be available when it's my turn. Unfortunately about this, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cast Command to be able to walk through the fire without dying. Alright, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and get that water put out. What's even more unfortunate about all this is that dog. Oh, okay, no, he's not in the way. Alright, awesome. So we're gonna move right here. Water put out. I just realized I said water put out. I meant to say is fire. Oh, and now he decides to do it. So, because he tagged her, she's now going to work with her. And there you go.
What's happened?
Alright, so, yep. You notice that, pretty sure that's the XP bar down at the bottom. You notice where it's at. Not mistaken, by the time I reach the top of the ship, I should be in pretty good shape. So let's go ahead and take all this stuff. Those plates are not worth anything, those cups are not worth anything. I should get off this boat being level 2.5 or 3. Let's go ahead and inspect these corpses. Try not to walk through fire. Bottle of wine. I don't think there's anything else in here. Well, at least right here. We still got all those bodies to go loot. And I just walked through fire. Brilliant, brilliant person I am. We'll read these notes a little bit later. For now, I just kind of want to get off the boat. Let's go ahead and just press try. Let's go ahead and loot everything. And our companions are knocked out. So this is gonna make me seem like a person. But what you can do is while they are passed out, you can actually attack them. And then take their stuff. So this is, I generally do this for the people I don't plan on using during the game. It gives you a little bit of a boost in the beginning. I hate to do this stuff, but I don't. No, you know what? I'm gonna use Alphen, I think, and I'm gonna use Sabelle. I'm not gonna do it to the people that I plan on using because it actually does affect their affinity.
The Magister lies on the floor.
No, just go ahead and kill Magister Silver as well. It's funny because before I started playing, I already had my party figured out in my head who I was going to use, but now that I'm actually in the game, it's like, I really want to use that party. Alright, so Magister Salon's dead. Couldn't even see Magister Waters because her corpse turned into the all of blood and stuff. Blood and gore. Let's see. I'm not going to use Beast. Something that was a pretty important change between this game and Original Sin was the armor and magic defense system. So in Original Sin, you didn't have armor and magic defense. Like, it was a stat, it wasn't another health bar you had to rip through. So like I'm gonna equip this. So now when you're trying to damage enemies, when you're trying to damage enemies, you have to, like, if you're doing physical damage, you have to rip through their armor first. Whereas if you're doing, magical armor, like magic attacks, you have to rip through their magic defense before you start doing damage to their HP. And it also affects buffs and debuffs. So, in a way, it's a little bit more tactical. Let's see here. We did pick up a staff. It's an air staff, but the benefit of that is when we use it with our water, combined with our water, it will... Oh, wait. Alright, yeah, we'll just go with 1 for now, because we don't want to be close to them. I do not unburden myself. I probably don't need these buckets. So we're 3 units over. So we're 3 units over our inventory limit. Decisions. I really want to keep the Zeus barrel. because it's very helpful to have like a place where you do your crafting. Let's just go ahead and drop some of these kitchen pots. Or all of the kitchen pots. Alright, let's see here. I guess I'm gonna drop the rest of 2 down here. Okay, so I think we're ready to move on to the second floor. Pretty sure, I think we've looted everything. Let's move this water barrel into the fire. Okay, takes care of that. So, again, we do not have Pet Pal, so talking this dog is kind of pointless. So let's just do some pre-planning for the battle here. So this air rod, oh my goodness. I don't even, yeah, I think I'll be safe there. See, yeah. I'm not hitting him. Hitting the edge of the bed. I'm just conducting the water and electrocuting everything. Did it say it missed? There we go. So, since we actually can't hit him, but we can, I can stand back here with this lightning wand and most likely keep him. Because he's wet, I can keep him pretty well stunned. See? Which makes, honestly, out of every fight on this boat, I really think the dog one is the most sketchy. It's because those dogs deal a stupid amount of damage.
God damn it! Need to get off this wreck and quick!
Cup. Forgery of a painting is not worth anything, unfortunately. You know, in the first one, paintings were worth quite a bit, but because that one's a forgery, it's not worth anything. Let's go ahead and heal health. I kind of messed up there. What I should have done is I should have used this. Oh, no, I got it.
Damn, that doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards!
Can I even pick that? I don't think I can. Oh, no, I guess I can. So pick locking for the win. I don't know. I don't want to do that. Okay, I thought they were the same, but I wasn't entirely sure.
Thank gods! By divine grace, who was that howling?
He eyes the collar circling your neck and reaches a hand towards his blade.
Another sorcerer! Like you don't know?
Alright, so here's another persuasion
Did that witch fix your
check.
collar too?
Passing this gets me XP, so I'm hoping I pass it.
Go
okay,
on then. Find a place to hide and...
So I wanted to pass that, and then I'm gonna end up killing both of these guys.
You need to find a hiding place.
One of them has magic resistance, the other one does not. So one of them I'm going to be able to stun lock. If not, probably kill outright. And the other one's going to take a little bit of effort to get him to the point where he is stun lockable. So hydro and air are very, very, very strong combinations. But it's a dangerous one too. Not necessarily for you, but for your teammates for sure. So let's just go ahead and start this up. Let's just go ahead and use this. And I should be able to... yeah, I can do both. So I'm hoping what this does is it takes that second one's Magister Murtoff. I'm hoping this rips his magic resistance. I think it will. Yeah, it did. Oh, it killed him outright. Wow. So as you see there, the blood also can be electrified, so you have to watch out for blood and water. I'm not entirely sure. I think if poison gets electrified, it turns into vapor, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm done in here at this point. Do the shabby letter. Check this one. This stream's a little slow, I know, but it will get more interesting once we get off of this boat.
Not long before this thing snaps into splinters!
We'll take the eyeball. Like I had mentioned earlier, the crafting in this game, and well, in both of the Divinities, really, it's kind of, it's pretty neat. It's not better than Beast Hat, but I won't. Unfortunately, I will not be able to keep the Captain Hat. I will lose it. Nothing.
Great gods! Something's pounding on the hull!
Random gold in the box, like that. Oh, I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to ask me to pick it up, because I didn't want to pick it up, I just wanted to loot it. Let's see. I think that's it for that side. There's some stuff over here, maybe. No, wait. It's one of those games that definitely rewards exploration and being that guy that checks every single nook and cranny. And honestly, with how difficult gold can be to come by in this game, you have to. Gold can be incredibly difficult to come by, especially if you don't plan on just robbing everyone blind. But you can also do that. That's also an option. And yeah, for the sake, that's for the sake of getting to Fane over here, so you get a little bit more revealed about his character as well. Let's go back to the fire. I originally did not mean to just pick it up. Barrels are empty, and I'm overloaded again. I'm a little aggravated because I don't remember. Like, I thought this game always stacked the black apples, but I could be wrong. I don't remember having this big of an issue with inventory management. That much is for sure. This is going to be a little dangerous to do with Fane the same way I did the other ones, simply because, well, there's no real room to move around. So instead, I'm going to rely on my eyes here and try not to auto attack and stun lock myself to death.
You pass through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. His skull is bizarrely angular, and a glorious jewel sits in the middle of his forehead. The skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia, muttering to himself.
No, no, no! What damn fools record knowledge on a pulped tree? It catches fire, it turns into must when wet, it cannot even resist acid! No wonder they're so bloody ignorant.
The skeleton looks up and notices you for the first time.
Oh, it's you. Shouldn't you be running and screaming or some such?
You know what, I may actually use Fane. It's a toss-up between Fane and Iffin for me, because I'm going to use Sibel and what's her face? I forgot what her name is. But it's a toss-up for Fane and Iffin. Like, Fane is useful, undead are useful in general. But Iffin's story is so good. But I technically don't need his quest reward, because I don't plan on actually using a ranger, so...
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantically flipping from page to page.
Yes, indeed. It's the look of someone that wants to read the bloody book he's holding. Now, if you're really quite finished, I believe you have lifeboats to flee to.
I like Fane's dialogue a lot of the times. Yeah, to connect the dots. Which, I mean, you should have that. I guess you should get that already. But Fane is an undead, and earlier when we talked to him and he looked like an elf, it was because there's these masks that undead can use to make them look like the other races. So...
Please, I was no more an elf than you are those rags you're wearing. I had a mask, rather ingeniously designed, which allowed me to take that primitive form. A mask that was stolen by that damned witch after her little scene. Still, she'll drown with the rest of these fools, and I will simply pluck my mask from her cold, dead hands.
It seems quite sensible.
Indeed. Just as sensible as getting off a sinking ship and leaving a fellow to his business. I would say good day, but it seems quite likely that you're about to die a rather terrible death, so...
The skeleton shrugs casually and returns to his book.
Please, my time is short.
Guess I'll go. I hate to do this, but I guess I'll just go and attack if and take his stuff. The resurrection scrolls are too valuable to have to not take advantage of the fact that they don't. So much health. Go. Mainly want his backpack, his resurrection scroll, and that potion. To be honest, it'd be neat to take it all. Yeah, I figured I'd be able to. That's fine. It's perfectly okay. I will fix that. I think what I picked up is actually more valuable than that. There's not much I can't pick up much more. Like I literally have one. Wait. I can pick up something that weighs one. Yeah, inventory limits are back and forth for me. Lock them, but I don't. Like, I kind of like games where I don't have a limit, which I don't care. So let's go upstairs. Here we are. We gotta fight these two. I don't think they are either, though. Yeah, let's just do this the regular. So what's interesting about ice is when you attack patches it leaves on the ground, it actually causes enemies to slip and fall, which leaves them incapacitated for a time. It's really interesting watching the elements work together in this game. Like you can blow up prison with fire, you can freeze water. There's all sorts of neat little tricks you can do that can give you an advantage. Oh, it's gonna be me too. Maybe one over here. That's interesting. I managed to not be stunned by that. And he goes. That one right there, unstunned to be restunned. Oh, no. It's not. Twice right. Now he's stunned. That's right. Yeah, it's a free get a new stack. 1250 bullets. Shot? Is it shot? Yeah, it was whatever that debuff is called, I'm pretty sure it is just shot. You go away. Be careful. Since we have rain, I actually do not need to use the water barrels there to get up first. Because if you don't have this spell, those 2 water barrels there can actually put that fire out for you. And there's another one right here too. It's just really bad. As you can see, I missed a spot because it wasn't able to finish all the way. So when this turn counter gets down, I'll just cast it. No biggie. 2 more turns. There we go. I'll just cast right in here, that way we can actually walk through there. It didn't hit, yeah, it did not hit where I needed it to hit. I picked up a wand and it made me uncomfortable. I gotta drop stuff again. I'm good now. So, something I forgot to do actually is I forgot to talk to the agents. You can actually talk to them when they're laying down and try to convince them to.
Shut your trap, kid. Children and dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
You said there were other people down there.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
Call the dwarf a yellow-bellied coward.
Thank you, thank you, thank you! There's a ladder right over there. You can go straight down.
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear?
This is completely optional, but it is worth it to do for the extra XP from fighting these things.
If you could walk, get yourself on the ladder. Wait! Void open!
You actually... You can actually do this with all of the components. It's not that bad. It's not even bad solo, to be honest.
I thought Void Broken was supposed to be scary.
Let the games begin.
Rogues are super fun. So, like, if you're torn on what kind of class you want to play, I can tell you right now that Rangers are probably the strongest, if not the strongest class, as far as just straight damage goes. Survivability. And by the way, there goes the level up. Which means when I get to shore, I should be level 3. But anyways, Rangers are super powerful, damage-wise. Rogues have a lot of survivability because the skills they get allow them to pop.
I'm ready.
And stealth. There's a lot of neat stuff you can do with stealth. A lot of neat stuff. Magic's super powerful, but all the damage types have a use, a place of like really a lot of usefulness in places where they're not very useful. There's a particular encounter I'm thinking of where there's an enemy that doesn't take physical damage. Maybe it doesn't take magical damage. I don't know entirely. But I do know that there's a damage type that it doesn't take any damage from at all. And that's one of those instances where it's very handy to have a mixed party. So, considering I'm going
Away! The sea's
water,
hungry. We don't have much
there's
time.
a couple of other builds that I've seen on Extra Life that I want to build around this battle mage to complement the skill sets. And granted, it's going to make all three of them use Hydrosophos pretty intensely. Which I also thought, so there's the Titleist on Extra Life that's one build I'm going to use. And I'm going to use the Crystalline Cleric and the Frost Power. But I also considered using the Elemental Ranger. And these are the builds I plan on using for my group in this game, for this stream. And depending on how popular it is, decides on how long I can continue streaming the series for. But, which I mean, currently there's no one here, so. Anyways, the idea behind it is like my character, this character right here is going to be a melee mage using a staff. All of them are just going to build on top of each other.
There's no time.
Really create a maximum amount of chemistry, I guess is what I put it.
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Oriven.
And with that, we're off the boat. Sorry, I was just checking my phone real quick. Good old loading screen. I guess when this loading screen finishes, I'm gonna stop for now. And when we pick it back up, we'll be heading into the Joy. And I earned my first trophy.
Something wanted me alive.
But, thank you for anyone who is watching, and see you next time.